Hello and welcome to Driver Interviews with Bobby Fazio. It's the Tuesday Tell-All. Today is Tuesday, January 10th, 2023. All right, if you thought I was in a bad mood last week, I was just in the DMV here in New Jersey since 9 o'clock in the morning, and it's 12:08 right now. I just got home a couple minutes ago, and I had an appointment. So, wherever you are, thank God that you're not in this state. Unless you are in this state, find a way to move out of it. All right, what's up, Walt Walker? How you doing, buddy? Right on time, just like I knew you would be. Didn't let me down this week. You let me down last week. You were about 20 minutes late last week. I was about to fire you. From what position, I have no idea. But anyways, okay, where was I? I'm flustered today. Flustered, I tell you. Driverinterviews.com. Check it out. Go to the website. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. Tell your friends. What do I always say? Tell a million of your closest friends, okay? You guys are very popular out there. Tell everybody you know. Shirts, stickers, if you want, you can purchase them right there. T-shirts and stickers. I am going to work on hoodies pretty soon. And I need to hurry because wintertime, well, I guess where I live, we still have at least 8 weeks of winter left. I mean, can't kid ourselves. And hats are coming, thanks to Mark Kirby. Thank you, Mark. We got some hats coming, and I'm excited about it. Good quality hats, too, mind you. All right, so check me out. Go to my website. Check me out on Facebook and Instagram, Driver Interviews, at Driver Interviews. That's also the handle for YouTube, at Driver Interviews. YouTube joined the handle club now, and at Driver Interviews works on all of them. Also, y'all know, you've been hearing me say it for a couple weeks, hashtag the car show, because we are the car show. Stock and Super Stock is the car show, the greatest car show on earth, to be exact. So use that hashtag whenever you are posting pictures or anything on Instagram, okay? Hashtags are really big on Instagram. You can use them on Facebook. I'm still not quite sure what they do on there, but use them on there anyway. Who cares? All right, show is brought to you by Drag Insights. Go to draginsights.com. Get yourself a free registration. All you need is an email address. Lots of cool things happening in Drag Insights. If you do become a premium member, you can then look at all your opponents' stats. You can run year-end analytics. You can sort classes by quickest ET, most win percentage, most total rounds. We are now including a whole entire heads-up section for stock and super stock racers, so you can see how people do in heads-up situations, class eliminations. You can see how fast people go there versus how fast they go in regular eliminations. So check it out, $50 for the year or $5 a month, and you're eligible for contingency. Draginsights.com. AdvancedClutches.com. Rob Youngblood, if you are a cool racer, meaning you drive a stick shift like me and are as cool as me, kidding, hit up Rob Youngblood, AdvancedClutches.com. He is a wealth of information and knowledge, so check him out. Just got my new clutch from him. Can't wait to try it out this year. Don Kennedy Race Car Insurance. Policies are all written through Haggerty. Covers your race car. Anything off the racing surface. So return road, on the street, your trailer, your classic muscle car, your hot rod, whatever you need to get covered, hit up Don Kennedy. And I think $20,000 worth of coverage. Like for me, my Stalker 5.0, I'll take $20,000 worth of coverage. I believe that starts at $180 a year. That's like a can't afford not to type of situation. So hit up Don Kennedy. You got his phone number right there and his email address. And then CP Carrillo Pistons and Total Seal Rings. Hit up my friend Nick Diaz at CP and Lake Speed at Total Seal. Lake Speed is coming on for a tech episode. We were supposed to have one today, but he had to go to the dyno with his father today and for some kind of a show that they're doing this week. So he apologized. He called me yesterday and said he was not going to be able to make it today, but we are trying to figure out another day this week to have our tech segment. He's a good guy. He's making time for little old me and all of us. And I'm pretty honored to be honest. So thanks, Lake Speed, and we'll see you soon. All right, who's out there? Let's see. Yeah, that therapy is a killer. Let me tell you. In the DMV today, for anybody that's just joining us, I was in there for over 2 hours here in New Jersey. All right, safe travels there, Don, getting on the airplane in Atlanta, which is the busiest airport in the world, I think, right? Yeah, I know it's funny, Walt. Funny for you, yeah. All right, had to save my stickers from my kid, plastering them all over the house. The driver interview stickers. Well, you give me your address. I'll send him a couple more. He can put them wherever he wants. He can put them on his chest and go to school with them and spread the word. Yes. Yeah, Don, thank you. I know. Good morning, Billy Gibbs, Washington, I think, right? Seattle. Nick Ryder is listening. Thanks, Nick. Hey there. All is well in King of... Yeah, well, I'm not there right now. You really need some racing, though. Yes, we all do, right? Hey, Tim and Linda, checking in. Rob, good luck to you. You're in Pennsylvania, though. Oh, God, never mind. I used to live in Pennsylvania. It was terrible there, too. So I don't know what to say. Good luck to you. Good luck to you. All right. Let's see what we got here today. I know I read some sad news yesterday that Tom Gaynor passed away. Super stock racer from the West Coast, the state of Washington, I believe. And correct me if I'm wrong. I feel like I just saw Tom Gaynor. I know I saw Tommy Gaynor. Tom Gaynor there's Tom Gaynor, Tommy Gaynor, and then there's the grandson, Ty Gaynor, right? I was talking to the grandson at Pomona, but I swore I saw Tommy Gaynor and Tom Gaynor driving super stock cars at Pomona. So this is terrible news. Again, I'm getting tired of hearing this kind of news, and my prayers and thoughts go out to the Gaynor family. It's just, why are we hearing this all the time? It's just sad. Ugh. But rest in peace, Tom Gaynor. And very sorry to the Gaynor family, and hope you guys are, pulling through. And well wishes to you and your family. So rest in peace, Mr. Tom Gaynor. All right. Billy and Nick are watching. Thank you, Nick and Billy. Pete is out there. Pete, how you doing? Did anybody see my post from last week? I hope everybody saw my Tuesday tell-all from last week, where we were talking about the reduced quotas specific to the Gator Nationals, where they were only taking 50 stockers and 50 super stockers at a historic race like the Gator Nationals, where when I was a little kid, I used to, up until like 2015, which was the first year I went there, like 90, 100 cars in stock and super stock. There had to be 90 or 100 cars in stock when I ran there in 2015. We ran class on Friday, eliminations on Saturday. We didn't miss a beat. The race was completed on Sunday. In 2016, I went back, and it rained the whole weekend. We did the entire race on Sunday with more cars than this. We did the whole race on Sunday. I lost first round. My father and I decided to change the transmission in my stocker, and the race was done before we even finished changing the transmission. By 4 or 5 p.m., the race was finished. It was still light out, very light out. And, in March, what times it get dark? I mean, it's 6, 7 o'clock. I mean, we were done by 5 on a race. All sportsmen started on Sunday morning. So I don't really believe the whole time constraint thing. However, I do know that when one little thing goes wrong, or a pro mod car breaks or blows up, you can sit there for a couple hours, and that'll throw, a wrench into the operation. So I get it. I do. Do we have too many classes? Well, watch last week and you see my thoughts on that. I made some friends and enemies last week. I'd probably do that on a weekly basis, but that's how it is. I give my opinion on this show, and if anybody else wants to give their opinion, all they got to do is send it in the chat window here, and I'll flash it up for you. So I try to give my opinion based on the greater good of stock and super stock. I'm trying, to factor in what I think is best for all of us, and then my opinion comes from. I try to look at everything from all angles. I try not to speak too subjectively. I don't know how to run a racetrack. I don't know how to schedule a race. I just look at past races and see if we finished on time and how many cars were there. That's it. I do want to sit in race control at an event this year so I can learn something and then share it with you guys. Like, hey, guys, we always complain about this, but did you know that this is why they have to do it this way? I want them to educate me, and then I'll be able to pass it on to you guys. All right. So that's what I'm going to try to do. Pete, what's up? One of my team captains and crew chiefs. How's it going? Doug Deck, what's up, man? How are you? Dave Turner, all the way from Canada, sharing lunch with me. Okay, I need some lunch right now. That DMV really took the wind out of my sails, really, and didn't allow me to get my lunch. So let's hope I don't have any brain fog today. All right. So I called this episode the Insatiable group because we as stock and super stock racers can be very insatiable. We are hard to please. We are very often complaining about things that are just beyond any human being's control. We are a self-serving group. There's no other categories in drag racing that are as self-serving as the stock and super stock categories, and rightfully so. We have all these different classes. We have all these different diverse cars and racers and personalities and geographics, demographics, all that combined under the umbrellas of stock and super stock drag racing. And Top Fuel is just all Top Fuel cars, okay? In pro stock, it's all pro stock cars, and for that matter, it's all Chevrolets, all right? Stock and super stock, we have diversity. We have different makes, models, years. We have classes, we have weights, we have horsepower ratings. All that stuff is going to lead to friction and complaining, and so incredibly difficult to operate and police and conduct in a manner that is pleasing to everybody, right? Not going to happen. Just not going to happen. Okay, I'm just forget about it. Okay. But that's why last week I said, you know what? We're all in this Lucas Oil sportsman drag racing series together. Thank you, Lucas Oil. But we're not all on the same level, right? .90 cars and stockers have nothing in common, other than they're sponsored by Lucas Oil Drag Racing. Okay, and we go to the quarter mile. That's it, right? So when people, people I think in stock and super stock tend to complain more, and then NHRA probably hears that and is just like, I just feel like sometimes they're like, you know what, guys, we got nothing for you. If we propose this group over here wants that. If we propose that, this group over here wants this. If we propose both of these, there's people right here that want none of it. Okay, that's stock and super stock. So we all have to do our part a little bit and just try to go with the flow as best as we can. I know it's hard for some. I know if I just got hit with 12 horsepower this year and you expect me to go with the flow, I know it can be hard. Okay. I'm not saying it's easy to do that. I want to be able to voice our concerns to NHRA in a manner in which they'll actually listen and try to hear us, and not just say, look, dude, we tried everything with you guys and you guys are a lost cause. All right. They're still inviting us to national events. Not a whole lot of us, which kind of makes me sad, as you heard last week. I mean, 50 of us, which I think is, kind of insulting. But that was why I always said, I don't think it's good that we run class at the Baby Gators. I don't want the Baby Gators replacing us at the Gator Nationals and, running class there in front of nobody, as opposed to running class on Friday at the Gator Nationals. We had a crowd at the Gator Nationals in 2015 when we were running class. And on top of that, I won class on a hole shot where I was covered by like a 10th and a half. So it was a very special occasion for me. I got my Wally, I got my contingency sheet, I got congratulated by people, and people came over and checked out the car and thought it was cool, and I thought it was cool. That's why I do this. This is why I built a stocker and a super stocker, to run national events, period. That's it. Okay. When people say, oh, separate nationals and sportsmen from nationals, nope, for sale, done, or they're turning into bracket cars. I ain't racing stock and super stock if there are no national events for me to race. We can't advance our agenda. I shouldn't use that word, agenda. We can't advance our brand. We can't promote it at divisionals and national opens and at association races, unfortunately. Okay. It has to be done at national events because that's where the crowd is. We're not going to get sponsors. We're not going to get contingency sponsors unless the crowd sees us. Okay. And the crowd doesn't see us at those other events. Now, I've been, hounding Maple Grove. We got to make this divisional Memorial Day weekend. We got to make this a big freaking deal, a spectacle. Put it on your, at least 2 months, unless you don't have some big event leading up to it. That should be your background photo right now, Maple Grove, if you're listening. Memorial Day weekend, biggest divisional event of the year, which I think it is. I think it's the biggest divisional in the country. It gets the most cars. I mean, we had 128 stockers there in 2019. 2020, we didn't have the race because of the pandemic. And 21 and 22, it's been inching its way back. And I mean, we have at least 100 stockers and probably 80 or 90 super stockers at that event constantly, not to mention all the .90 cars and Super Street and all the other classes. So it's a big deal. We got Top Alcohol there, fireworks, all that. Pump it up. All right, let's get people there. However, until we can get the same amount of people that we get at national events, like at Maple Grove National Event, all right, until we can get crowds like that, I'm here to race national events. I race divisionals. Now I've been putting more focus on divisionals because I actually wanted to be in a points chase, at least at some point in my life. And last year was my chance, and I was trying to do it. I want to finish in a top 10, or God willing, finish number 1 in the country. Yeah, hell, who doesn't, right? That's a dream of mine. I can't afford to do that every year. All that travel and the luck that's required, and skill, and parts not breaking. A lot of things have to come together for such an event to take place. But like I said, I in the past, divisionals were, unfortunately for me, like expensive test sessions and grade point opportunities so I could run national events. Now, on to the main topic of this episode is, why don't these association races or these big money races get the kind of participation that they honestly should get? Given the amount of complaints that people at stock and super stock racers voice all the damn time about NHRA and how bad we're treated and how, it's going to rain, they canceled the event, or it's going to rain, they didn't cancel the event yet, and blah, blah, blah. You would think these association races would just be like 150 cars showing up at these things, right? Wrong, unfortunately. It doesn't happen. Big money races, Class Racer Nationals, put on by Ken Mealy and Tim Fletcher. I think like a week or two before, we had a national open and divisional at New Media that drew like 120 stockers or something ridiculous. And I don't remember how many super stockers. And then they had their race for more money, for less entry, for prizes, for all this incentive. And they got like 55 total cars. Not a drop of rain in the forecast. It just makes you wonder why. So Tim Fletcher really summed it up wonderfully when he posted this on Class Racer. All right, this sums it up perfectly. It's genius. It's genius because I'm one of these people. And I'll explain to you in a minute after we go over this why I'm one of these people, and I'm somewhat ashamed to admit that I am. I am a Wally chasing freakazoid. Okay, that could change at some point in my life. At this point right now, I haven't been satisfied in my Wally chasing ventures yet. Okay, I've won a couple Dutch Classic National Opens. I've won one divisional in my life. I've won one national in my life, and a couple association races actually. So I don't omit them altogether. I've run in them, but they're not on the front burner for me. But enough about me. Let's look at this. Okay, so I just thought this was awesome. After doing this for 3 years with Ken Mealy, this is what Tim Fletcher observed. Right, it has to be at a facility that's reasonably close to everyone, but the facility has to be flat and level for parking. Has to be fast. Has to be easy to get to from the highway. Now, a lot of these are just like he's just being funny here because he's basically saying there's no pleasing anybody, right? Has to be a weekend you can loop it in with another race. But if it's too close to another race, then that's too many races in a row. And it can't be too early in the season because we're not ready. Can't be too late in the season because my engine's blown. Can't be in the middle because there's too many races going on, right? It can't be on this weekend or that weekend because it's my nephew's bar mitzvah. Like, people will use any excuse to get out of going to one of these, but they'll miss their kid's baptism or something to go to a divisional event, right? It's just Tim's spot on here. Has to be a weekend with a good forecast. Can't be too hot though, right? And it can't have a 1% chance of rain because I don't want to come if it's going to rain. If it's a divisional though, I'll come sit in the rain for 3 days. Can't have a headwind because then the cars go slow. Can't be too sunny because then it's too hot. Right. It has to be reasonable entry fee for reasonable pay, which all these association races are. Can't cost too much because racers are on a budget. You know, they'll spend 30 grand on an engine, but they're not going to spend $100 to go race in an association race. Divisionals and nationals, there's no budget anymore. Can't cost too little because then it's not worth the wear and tear. It needs to be $15 to enter for 15 grand to win. I don't even think that'll do it, Tim. Has to be on a weekend because people can't take off work. It can't start on a Friday because people work on Fridays. It can't start on Saturday because then I have to drive through the night on Friday night after work to get there. Can't end late on Sunday because I got to work on Monday. And here he goes. He sums it up. With all due respect and no offense, there is nothing anyone can do to please the stock and super stock community. You all deserve NHRA and the stuff they put you through. $350 or $200 to enter, $100 for your wife, 3 to 4 long days, 1 race, but a Wally. Right? He's right. But then, what are the last few words? What are his last few words? Right? See you all at Gainesville, which is where he's going. Right? So I guess he's saying there, there's no pleasing you guys, and guess what? He's right there. I guess he's saying I'm right there with you because he's at Gainesville. He's on the stock sheet. He's one of the 3-minute men, right? He entered. He had to be sitting on his computer entering right at 11 o'clock Eastern time on that Wednesday because he got in. So we're all, you know, he's basically pointing out why no one races these. Not I should say no one, but why there's a lack of participation, but we're all going to Gainesville to race for this little bit of money. So very, very interesting, right? Let's get a look at some of the comments here. I'm falling behind on the comments. All right, where was I? It worked back in the day. Why can't it work now? I don't know, Dennis, because I don't know what time you sent that about 6 minutes ago, and I don't remember where I was. Billy Domino, that's my old eye doctor. How you doing, buddy? Good to see you. Warren, hello. Hope you had a great New Year's also. Have to finish 9th or better now. Don't even get a letter for 10th. Yeah. I ended up finishing 5th in the division, but I didn't get the 15. I didn't send in time, and I didn't really care that much for it. I don't feel like peeling my numbers off. Locations, some around here will not race at certain tracks. 2K guaranteed to win twice a year at our local track, Brainerd, and we were lucky to pull 40 cars. And I would think you'd pull more in that area, Brian, because they don't have a whole lot of places to race out there. And that's why my old co-host, Brian Anderson, they always had a good turnout at their association races out there because they have to drive 8 hours just to get to like their nearest divisional. Tim had the post of all time. He's 100% spot on. I know, Steve, right? Absolutely. The 3-minute men. I just thought of that right there, you know. I just got here. Who posted that? Tom, that was Tim Fletcher posted that. The host, one of the hosts of the Class Racer Nationals at New Media Dragway in Pennsylvania last year, for the last 3 years. You have more fun at association races and would run them all, but I'm kind of busy at those races. Yeah, I know, because you're running them. Raced at all the Class Racer Nationals and the South Georgia Big Money Race. The most fun, best races we've run. And good day, EH. Who's EH? EH. Refresh my memory. All right. Here's my take on this now, okay? And Rob Keister. People build stock and super stock cars to race stock and super stock, right? And in my case, I want to run national events, right? That's why I did it. You already heard me say it. If you just joined us, rewind like 5 minutes and I go off on that little tangent. These cars are very intricate, delicate, strategized, many hours, investment, ring packages, special honing jobs, cylinder heads. I mean, specifically super stock cylinder heads from 1965 with the casting numbers that have to get worked, and you have to pay lots of money, let's be honest, to make horsepower in these classes. It's a thinking game. It's thinking game as far as the performance and the selection of the car and the longevity of the car and all that. And then obviously strategy in driving the car, and strategy in driving the car in a heads up situations versus strategy driving the car in the bracket racing aspect, strategy in qualifying. Okay. These cars are built and maintained for me, to run in NHRA stock and super stock. Call me crazy. I don't know, but that's just ever since I was a little kid, I wanted to win the national event. I wanted to race under the NHRA umbrella. .90 cars, we'll say for Rob Keister here with the Super Comp and the Super Gas and his .90 association, most of those cars are like big block Chevy, good solid parts, lightweight, power glide. You can put a lot of runs on those cars. You don't have to make every single run count on those cars. You can run divisionals, opens, nationals, association, nationals. If you can get time off from work, or if you're unemployed or retired or whatever, you can race that car 52 weeks a year and probably not break anything. Just change oil, charge the battery, and call it a day, right? Maintenance the valves. In stock and super stock, now more so with my super stock car. My stocker, I like to think it's a low maintenance stocker. Really, it's a car because the super stock car drove us so crazy for so many years that like I was crazy enough to put together the stocker, but I wanted it to be a car that's like, it doesn't go that fast, it doesn't rev that high, it doesn't have obviously much cam lift, its valve springs can live, like it's just low maintenance car for somebody like me that's on a budget, right? The super stock car, though, in order to achieve my means and desires, I got to make every run count. Every run count. I don't even run national opens with that car. I don't waste the runs on a national open. I've won the Dutch Classic a couple times in the past, and once in a while we will still run that race because my father still thinks it's like this great historic race that I don't understand because I'm too young to. When I go to the Dutch Classic, there's 3 people in the stands. There is a Hemi shootout, which is cool, but it's like, it's not the party I want to be at. I want to be back at the party from like the week or 2 before while we were at the Nationals. Like that's my thing. But the Dutch Classic, we actually had a bigger crowd last year than we've had in years. And Kyle Koretsky even said that. He said he did pretty good at it last year. Now, mind you, weren't we pumping the shit out of that race, leading up to it? Huh? Right? So, but anyways, I don't run opens. We had an open at New Media the weekend of the divisional last year. I got up there and parked. I can't put runs on my super stock car for the open. I was somewhat in a points hunt. That car is on borrowed time. It was our 3rd year on the motor. Mind you, we didn't really race in 2020. We did race a decent amount in 2021, and I was having some success. So I was putting more runs on the car than normal, and I was racing a lot in 2022. I mean, we're maintenance freaks. My father's a maintenance freak, and thank God for him because he checks over everything. I'm so like happy and like blessed to have somebody like him that really doesn't let me get in a car that hasn't been checked over 3 times. Thank the Lord for him. Okay. But despite that, these motors aren't going to last forever, especially not one that's revving up to 9,000 RPM and dumping the clutch. It's just not going to happen. And with those parts, I got to make every run count. So when there is an association race, it's not that I don't want to support it. I'll go there. I'll pay a spectator fee, or I'll bring my stocker, or I sometimes drive Mark Sargenti's 64 Mustang stocker at those races. But I just, for my dreams and aspirations right now to win a national championship or divisional championship in super stock, I can't bring my car to those races. I got to make every run count, which it still bit me, at the end of the year when I was in the heat of it and I was almost up into 2nd place there, my engine broke, right? And we're still piecing it back together. But that's the reason why I race the way I race, and you don't see my super stock car at too many association races or even big money races or national opens, right? Unless I am dying for a grade point, you won't see that car at national open. Now, you would say, Bob, you're on a budget, so why wouldn't you race a big money race with that car? Well, I may in years to come, but until I can achieve or have put in enough time trying to achieve what I want to achieve, like a national championship or divisional championship. I can't. And some of those big money events are far for me. That South Georgia one, I wasn't down south that year that the Bo Butner, Jason Line, Dave Connolly race happened, and I wasn't going. And I don't even think my car was, I don't know if it was running at that time or not. When was that? Early 2021? It probably would have been running, but I like to run it locally before I go anywhere with it. It's a temperamental car. You don't drive 1,000 miles with it only to find out that it's, you try to go down the track and something's wrong. And, I could probably do that with the stocker, but it's harder to win in that car. I'm not going to go to a big money race with that car. I'm more confident driving my super stock car than I am driving my stock eliminator car. And I've entertained, my stocker's fast. It goes a second under, but I still got to work out some more things with it. And I'm just not fully confident when I race that car. And I haven't really raced it much in the last few years. So anyways, I'm just trying to show you guys why I think the way I think and do the things that I do. Let me get back to some comments. They want the pomp and circumstances for their combos, and some set up their combos to make 80, 90 runs a year. When they hit that limit, they call it a year. They don't like the combo races either, like Dave races. They want to be separated. It's a Canada thing. EHA. Were you saying hey? A? What's up, A? Thanks, Venice. How you doing? NHRA started this party for, oh man, we're covering my face here. For any number of reasons, an attempt to hold a comparable event is measured against the best experience the racer had with the founding body. The money isn't the draw because we've been competing for peanuts forever. I think it's about the heads-up runs, tech inspections, including teardown, record runs, rivalries, and yes, the Wally. If an independent promoter offers less, they aren't given a second chance, and that is true. Now, where independent races thrived, and I mean kicked ass, 2020, right? 2020, early 2021. The Class Racer Nationals did so well because in 2020, there was nowhere for us to race NHRA. They were calling everything, canceling. It was the pandemic. There was nowhere to go. And where I live, I'm within 2 hours of Maple Grove, Atco, Englishtown when it was alive, Cecil County Dragway, 3 hours from New Media. So there's 5 tracks. That's 5 divisionals that I once had, minus Englishtown, that are within 2 to 3 hours from me. So I don't have to travel all that far to hit the races that I want to hit. So I'm not struggling to find tracks to race at or find events to get a little seat time in. I have them. We have them in D1, especially in certain parts of D1. Other areas of the country where they don't have that is probably where associations thrive, and that's where that association out in D5 does really well because they have double weekends, they have a good payout, they have good rules, they have heads-up runs. They do try to offer a lot of the good stuff that that we like about NHRA. So it will thrive in certain areas. It will not thrive in other areas. A lot of these associations, but not all, are trying to replace NHRA events instead of just, being a supplemental to those events. And that's a problem because people aren't going to go to those. Some people might, but I think the majority of racers are not going to go to those races instead of NHRA races because most of us NHRA racers haven't finished in a top 10, haven't won a world championship, haven't won a divisional championship. I think there's still a lot of us that are out for that crown. Now, somebody who's won 5 world championships, 20, 50, 100 national events, sure, they're probably done with it. We're used to making 20 grand a pop on a national event, and now we're getting 6. Yeah, they don't need to do it anymore. They're not chasing glory anymore. So they'll run big money races. They probably just want to win money. Let's face it, a lot of stock and super stock racers don't need the money. You don't build a $200,000 stocker to go race for $2 grand and then complain that you need the money, do you? I mean, if you do, I don't know how you're in business in life because that's a losing proposition. A lot of these racers are building these super cool cars in stock and super stock because they want to show off their car at a national event and have the crowd see it. They want to win class. You don't build a freaking super stock Hemi car for $250,000, $300,000 to go
to go run an association race, clearly, right? You want to go to Indy and you want to win that Hemi shootout and get that glory at the U.S. Nationals. That's why we do this. A lot of this category doesn't do it for the money. So I can't stand when people are like, well, the Spring Fling brings in all these bracket racers. How come none of you guys go to the big money? Because we're not on the same level. You're talking about bracket racers running 8th mile or 1,000 foot in a dragster with a big block Chevy and a Power Glide. That's not us, right? We don't do that. If we wanted to do that, we would build one of those cars. Now you got your other majority of Gen 3 Camaros, or like my Stalker, or cars that you can put, that may not be run on the ragged edge every time they go down the track. And then, they might tend to run more of these kinds of races, these superlative races, these supplemental races, these association races, and or try their hand at a big money race. Okay. A lot of people go to a race and know that they're going to lose. Okay. There's probably 10% of the racers out there that go to a race and say, I got a good shot at winning this event. All right. There's 20 or 30 that say, I'm going there. If I can make it to round 3, I'm happy. There's some that are going, probably another 30%. Now I don't know how many percent I'm at now. 10, 40, 70. All right. There's a 30% that just want to go and see their buddies qualify, get their car down the track a few times. They haven't started it up in 2 months. And a divisional event, we'll say, is just like, let's see how fast I can go. It's a test session, and I'll probably lose first round. But I got to see my buddy. I went out to dinner with this guy, and it was a nice homecoming. And I have fun. I'm not even here to win. You got them guys. You think those guys are going to go to a big money race? No. Right? So you have different kinds of racers in this group. I don't think you have that kind of variety as much in the bracket racing world. They're there to win, okay? And I go to the track. I'm considering myself in that 10%. When I go to the track, I expect to win. Not always win the whole event. I know when things aren't going my way or when things aren't running right, but I go there to win. I shouldn't say I expect to win. I go there to win. That's my number one objective. So especially when people are like, you didn't do many interviews last week at the race. Yeah, I was racing and I'm there to win. If I lose, then I'll start doing interviews. I can't do interviews and try to win at the same time. I got a specific program that I'm sticking to. And if I'm racing 2 cars, forget about it. You probably won't even see me for the first 2 or 3 days. But I go to win, and I know I'm not there. I know I'm not going to win a ton of money. I mean, I won a divisional last year. I got $4,000 for it, which was better than I was expecting. And I got, if it was all said and done at the Nationals in 2021 at Maple Grove, $6,500, I think. And that might have included $400 for winning class. So yeah, the money's not there. And maybe I could have had like 1 or 2 more stickers, but it's not like it used to be back in the day where you were getting 15 to 20 grand. Sure, I know that and I understand that. But guess what? I ran a national event in front of a packed house Sunday. Won, thank you, Lord. Interviewed in front of that crowd on Fox Sports for a solid 8 to 10 seconds. And that was my dream in life. Okay. I wanted that. They could have given me like, $1,000 to win that race or $0. I still would have been happy. Okay. Now I wouldn't be as happy, but I was there for more for the promotion and I guess the self-centeredness that's inside of this silly head, that I just wanted to be in front of that crowd and get that notice and attention and have people see a stick shift 65 Mustang go down the track and hoist a Wally on Sunday, which was always my dream. Never thought it would ever happen, but it did. All right. So that's why I do this. But that's just me. All right. Comments. Yes, Richard. That's what I'm saying. Jack, just too many races. Well, in D1, we have a lot, and we're lucky to. Billy Gibbs, LS bracket motor to race weekly. This is a true LS swap, and super stock motor is only for the divisional and national events, right? So that's kind of where my head is. A weekend before the Dutch gets great car counts too. Pete, I don't even think that would work. I think everybody would say I'm coming up for the Dutch, and I want to win class at the Dutch. I want to go fast at the Dutch. I want to do all these things at the Dutch, and I don't want to hurt my car at that big money race beforehand. What I just say, I don't think too many racers care about the big money in stock and super stock. They don't care about it. If they cared about money, they wouldn't build a stocker or a super stocker, right? Those races killed it because there was nothing else. Jack is correct in my opinion. There are too many races. We don't need all the opens. Yeah, I agree. I don't see the point of opens. Other than you can go as fast as you want, but I don't have that much more in the bank, so it's not a big deal for me. I'm not going to get hit with horsepower. I know you do, Tom. No 1,000-foot deals for Tom. All right, let's get that straight in case anybody missed last week. And thank you for sponsoring me, Tom. I appreciate it. Tom Baker sponsors this show, everybody. He's one of the best machinists and metallurgists. He's out of Baltimore, and he's a freaking genius. Every time I talk to him, I feel stupid because he knows so much more about metals and welding and everything than I do. Brian, the only way you become I know. Start off as a billionaire, you become a millionaire, especially in stock and super stock. Too many NHRA points races. Okay. Yeah, the money races won't win over divisionals, opens, or nationals for most class racers. I know they won't win over nationals and divisionals, but the opens kind of I'm hard pressed for both. I think just the open can get you that grade point that you need to run nationals. James Hill, I like heads up runs and running class. So do I. So at these association races and big money races, some of them have heads ups and some of them don't. Some of them might run an open format where it's random pairing first round and then heads ups after that. So some racers prefer the heads ups at stock and super stock. We want performance in there. Racers want to know that rules are being followed even at these association races. Are they legal combos? Are they running electronics? Anything goofy and crazy like that? You know, people want to make sure that things are being teched, even at NHRA races, right? We want to know. It's just a lot of people, I think, just have that more of a warm and fuzzy feeling that at NHRA races, rules are being followed, or there's more fear of breaking rules at those races. Fast series guys don't bracket race, and it's like going back in time 50 years. Their association is pretty much the only game in town. We, on the other hand, are like kids whose parent abandoned them. You definitely make sense. Thanks, Tim. At least somebody thinks so. We chased events to win a Wally, and we did too. Topeka and the Baby Gators, and the trifecta at the Baby Gators that time. This is worth more than if we won 20 grand. We are doing the same this year, but if there's a stock, super stock race on a weekend off, we will go. Right? James Hill, I agree. And you know what, Tim? I think Tim is retired and he can take off as much as he wants. And for me, I can't do that yet. So again, I got to make these weekends count. And you already know, if you rewind 10 minutes now, what my goals are in class racing at this time. So taking time off from, working. I am self-employed. I am a math tutor for SAT students and high school math and algebra and all that, calculus. I can take off if I need to. The worst that could happen to me is a couple parents could get mad. But I'm in a situation where when I do take off, self-employed, you take off, you don't get paid. It's not like vacation time. So if I take off, I don't get paid. I got to make those count, and I'm making them count for my, personal goals, which are national and divisional events and top 10 finishes. The reason they won't win over opens is it's the only place you will be able to go fast with the new AHFS rules. Well, correct, but you can go as fast as you want at an association race, Dwayne. So if they want to hang it all out, they can go to one of those, just like at an open. So there's no horsepower hits at association races, and there's no horsepower hits at national opens for any of my listeners that are not all too familiar with stock and super stock just yet, but are still learning. At divisionals and nationals, you will get penalized with weight for going too fast. And if you want more information on all of that, check out a previous episode from about 4 or 5 weeks ago called AHFS Changes. Much closer to opens versus divisional races around here when it comes to grade points. So, Brian, you're telling me they have opens at a track without a divisional, I mean, I was under the impression that opens and divisionals were working hand in hand at this point, double weekends and things like that. Just to have an open, with nothing around it. And I thought the only one that did that was like the Dutch Classic, because it just has so many cars that they can't run a divisional in the same weekend. But I thought all the other opens in the country were kind of just combining them. I know some opens where down in D2 and D3 are like 8th Mile and stuff like that. Some are combos, which I totally disagree with. I hate combos. We do run combos in the association near me, but we don't have a huge car count at these things, so you have to. But I'm not a fan of stockers running with super stockers, even though I'm pretty sure a stocker wins most of the time. Like a Bubba Linky or a Allison Dahl cleans house at these things in a stocker and takes out a lot of the super stock cars. But I mean, they're two totally different rule sets, trans brakes versus foot brakes. And I don't know, it's funny that they race against each other. All right, Jack, we do need the opens. If you want to go to national events, grade points are needed. Yeah, you're going to go to Cayuga, Toronto. I haven't been there in 30 years. I've never been to Canada, believe it or not. I've been out of this country multiple times, but I've never been to Canada. Good luck there, Jack. No divisionals at Brainerd. No divisionals at Brainerd. Why? Ugh. An open at Rock Falls, no divisional. Tri-State has 2 opens, 2 divisionals. Yeah, I remember this now. Why is Brainerd not having a divisional? See, why are all these tracks not wanting divisionals? That's scary, okay? What is NHRA cutting into at these tracks to have them have a divisional? Are they losing that much money on these divisionals? And again, are these tracks putting in enough of their own work to get people to come to their divisionals? Because I don't think they are. Bill Bader loves his divisional. He can't wait to have his divisional every year. He probably would like to have 2 or 3 of them. So some of these tracks, got to get their act together, as far as getting a crowd in. And NHRA needs to be somewhat flexible if they are not, given the 2022, 2023 economic climate that we are in with all this inflation. Okay, the cost of everything's going up. It just cost me $350 at the DMV for what? I have no idea. So a couple of license plates and a registration. D2 opens are 8th Mile. ATCO Open is separate this year. And of course, all the Canada Opens. Yes. The Canada Opens are big money opens, though, I think, Rob. I think they're combined, stock and super stock, but there's like a 10 grand to win up there at one of those. Miramichi or something like that. So the ATCO Open is separate. The ATCO Open it's early. If it's early in the year, it gets a half decent crowd because people want to go fast and set records. Setting records happens at opens more so than divisionals. I don't think it hardly ever happens at a divisional anymore. NHRA couldn't make back-to-back weekend work with the national event. Okay. Wow. D2 run a divisional Friday, Saturday, and an open on Sunday. And I don't think a whole lot of people stayed for the open last year, did they? Some people left. A 40% currency holiday. I don't even know what that means, but I would like one. The track just had over 200 cars at division race in June. No reason to travel that far north first week of June. Half the class cars leave after the divisional. Yep. And last time I heard, it cost the track $14,500 to host a divisional, and they have to pay the purse. Well, I don't think paying the purse is that big of a deal. You've seen the purse, right? It's not that much. And at Maple Grove, with the amount of cars that you have, they should still be making some good money. NHRA's overhead has increased at the same rate. I'm sure it has. I'm sure it has. If they were a little bit more transparent with, the X's and O's, the revenue, the cost, the profit, maybe we would see. NHRA's overhead, they haven't increased national event payouts in a very, very long time, and haven't heard that they're increasing them this year. They keep increasing the entry fee, national event entry fee, $10 at a time. They might skip a year, but at least every other year that thing's going up $10. Next year it'll probably be $350. The year after that, we're $360, I'm guessing. So it doesn't seem to ever come down, right? Doesn't seem to ever come down. If all this inflation reduces, if things come down, if gas prices go back down, costs go back down, shortages go away, supplies increase, prices come down, do you think NHRA is going to lower the entry fee from $350 back down to $330 or $320? Right? Not happening, right? Yep. Jack is a smart guy. Car salesman, they're all smart. I think he's retired now, though, which means he was smart because he's retired now. The divisional costs for tracks have increased. When Alki is there, they pay the purse and they don't pay an entry fee. I know alcohol doesn't pay an entry fee, but alcohol is supposed to draw the crowd, and they are paying to get in the gate. Having increased insurance and increased medical personnel. Yeah, that's what one of the old track managers at Maple Grove was explaining that to me. They have, he says they don't pay an entry fee, the alcohol cars. And now I have to worry about a couple, leakers coming in. He used to call them leakers coming in, messing up the track and, putting the program on a delay where they're not paying an entry fee. And, because they're getting it for free, I guess they would run it. Whereas if they were paying an entry fee, maybe they wouldn't run it. I don't know. But use the alcohol cars to your advantage. Maple Grove runs the whole alcohol show on Saturday, I think. And I've always wondered why they don't break that up. Run qualifying on Saturday, have your fireworks, run eliminations on Sunday. Try to pack the house 2 days in a row, sell a lot more hot dogs. But that's just my 2 cents. When I meet with Maple Grove, which I'm supposed to do, I'm supposed to meet with the track manager. I will find out why they do that, why they do it the way they do it. Another thing that was brought to my attention is, we have the Orlando Divisional in less than a month. And I checked the other day. There's not one single real advertisement for that race anywhere. It's not on their website. It is on the calendar. If you click on the calendar, it says NHRA Lucas Oil Race, but it doesn't tell you how much it is for spectators. It doesn't tell you what kind of cars are there. It doesn't have a cool super stock car on the back bumper of a flyer. Is it on their Facebook page? I don't know, but here we go. Do you want to make money at this race or not? It's in less than a month. Why isn't this plastered all over your Facebook page, your Facebook background, social media, Instagram, website, interactive website, showing maybe a little preview of what these cars can do, maybe some kind of a deal, car loads, $10 spectators, children 12 and under get in free. Where's the marketing? Where is the marketing? If you are a racetrack and you made that considerable investment to own a racetrack, why aren't you trying to get a return on your investment by pumping the shit out of a race that's coming up that's going to have a lot of cool cars at it? Anybody know? Somebody call them up, or if they have updated that, because I haven't checked in 3 or 4 days, let me know. Cost to employ people in California is probably absurd. I'm sure it is. NHRA should consider moving to a more economical part of the country. I thought they were looking and moving to Indianapolis, or was I just dreaming? I thought I read that somewhere. How do you get interest in a race if you don't advertise to the community you're having it? I'm not talking about posting it on Facebook with low attendee engagement with their page. Yeah, well, radio advertisement, signs on the road, drag racing this weekend or in 3 weeks, or put the date February 3rd and 4th, something like that. Wheel stands, kids 12 and under, free. Something. I mean, geez. What did I say? What I told you about New Media Dragway. If it wasn't for GPS, I wouldn't even know where that entrance is. I've passed it so many times, even with the GPS. There ain't one sign outside that track that says there's a racetrack anywhere in town. So I don't know if that's they just don't care, they haven't thought of it, or maybe the town doesn't let them. I don't know. It's just if I was just driving by and found out there was racing on a Friday night up that hill there, I might go. Man, I don't understand it, but I don't own a racetrack, so I'm just going based off of marketing 101. That's all. All right. What else did I want to say? I think we covered it. If anybody had a comment, let me know. Do you run association races? Do you run big money races? Do you understand why people build $200,000 stockers and not beat on them at opens or association races or big money races? Right? That was the main point of this. No, I'm really going to make you laugh though. Despite all of that, I want to help promote this race here that I found on Class Racer. Mike Clifford of SSSSA posted this. All right. So there is an association race at Orlando Speed World, January 29th. So this is leading up to the divisional race. 100% payout, right? Entry fee is only $100. Now, this is something I would run because I'm from Jersey, and if I was driving all the way down to Orlando to race, I would group this in with it. $100 and 100% payout. That means if 20 people show up, he's saying $2,000 to win. Now, I don't know if he's going to break that up a little bit. And if anybody knows him and he wants a payout calculator, I have one, and he can dabble with it. He can put like 3rd round or 4th round or 5th round or whatever. And he can do it on the spot after he finds out how many cars he has. I would think you got to guarantee a top prize, though, at least so people know what they're racing for. But if you want to dabble with the round money, let me know. I can help you out with that. So it's open to stock, super stock, nostalgia muscle car, and nostalgia super stock. There you go. You can support that group. 100% payout. January 29th, Orlando Speed World. Guys, if you're in that area and you want to race and you want to try and win a couple extra bucks, there you go. Support that guy's race. Southern Stock Super Stock Association. SSSSA. SSSSA. Say it fast 3 times. All right, guys. Thanks for joining me. Driver interviews with Bobby Fazio. Hope I didn't make too many friends and enemies today. Hopefully more friends than enemies. Last couple comments. Bring Bader back on the show. Actually, I talked to his sister at PRI, so we are going to get a hold of Bill and see if he wants to come back on. He enjoyed it last time, and he liked getting his message out there. So we will have him. We are going to have Lake Speed this week, if not this week, next week. Look at the races that are successful. They have separate promoters. These track owners don't know or don't want to promote. Yes. And D1, we just got a promoter as our D1 president. So we'll see how he does. Payout calculator is a lifesaver. You got it, buddy. Thanks. I'm glad you're using it. Enjoy your day too, Scott, and great stuff. Thank you very much, Pete. I appreciate it. Thank you to everybody who listened to me ramble today. I appreciate it. Tuesday, January 10th, 2023. I'm Bobby Fazio, driver interviews with Bobby Fazio. This was the Tuesday Tell All. Thanks for watching. Share it with your friends. Subscribe to my YouTube channel. And good luck anybody going to that divisional in Orlando and that SSSA association race. Take care, everybody. See you later.